Hey guys, it's me, Desi with Highway to Heel.
And I'm Jeremy with Full of Sit.
And today we're going to go over the first steps to teaching a good recall.
That's right, so stay tuned, watch some quick tips on how to get your dog coming to you nice and reliably.
Alright guys, enjoy! Alright, so today we're going to teach you guys an on-leash recall. Anytime that you're practicing this, definitely keep the leash on your dog so they don't get away and have a chance to bug out on you. Most people, if your dog doesn't already come when called, you're going to start staying fairly close. When we teach a recall, we expect the dog to come all the way to us and sit at our feet. The sit is implied. You won't hear us say sit when they get to us. We're going to lure them into the sit. The reason we're going to stay in proximity is because the dog is more likely to be focused on us and not get so distracted. Once the dog completes the task, they make a sit. We mark it with a yes, and then offer the reward. Another component to the beginning stages of teaching a recall is to keep in mind motion gets motion. So if your dog is sitting there confused and you tend to move, they're probably going to move towards you. Ready? Okay, sit. So most of us will stand about this close in the beginning. Ready? Come. Yes. He's a little bit taller for me, so I don't have to bend over too much to keep him straight. And I don't have to move too much to lure him into that sit. And then we can try to start gradually getting a little bit of distance as we feel like they're starting to understand. Ready? Reckless, come. Yes, good boy. Good job. Good boy, bud. If your dog has a fairly good sit stay, you can practice it from the end of the leash. Once you reach that distance reliably. I'll still tend to move, especially in the beginning stages, because I want to encourage the dog to follow. Eventually you can phase that out to where you're not running backwards every time calling your dog to you. Reckless, come. Good boy. And again with the lure, I try to keep him moving straight. I don't want him tilting back until he gets to me into that sit, and I like my dog to be nice and close to me when they do get to me, so you'll see I kind of leave a leg out, leave it a little bit open so they can kind of get all the way to me and hopefully not crash into me. So we'll try this from a little bit of a distance. Reckless, come. Good boy. Yes, sir. Good job. Fingers, man. Come on. Reckless. Hey.
There's a hot dog there.
There's a hot dog there. Hey, buddy, you ready? Come on. Reckless, sit. Good boy. So you'll start pretty close in the beginning, gradually get some distance from your dog. This exercise does kind of help a little bit with your sit stay if you haven't already taught that, meaning if he were to get up, I would just kind of put him back. Uh-oh, he's interested in Jeremy. Reckless, right here, buddy. Yes. Hey, sit. No. Sit. Reckless, sit. Come on. Sit. I'm losing you. All right. You're embarrassing me, kid. So then if we can be all the way at the end of the leash, the goal is to not have to move, like I said, and hopefully not even have to use a lure, but it takes a lot of repetition to get there. Reckless, come. Yes, good boy. Good job, buddy. Good job, buddy. And that's kind of the beginning of teaching a recall. Good job, buddy.
All right, so I wanted to leave this little bit of footage in here. I didn't cut it out. I've never worked with this dog before, Mr. Reckless here. We've never done any type of obedience. I've literally never worked with this dog on a leash before. The extent of our relationship is I've thrown a Frisbee for him a couple of times, and that's about it. But I want you to watch how he really comes around when I get on him a little bit and I start pushing him and asking him to do more. He really responds nicely to it.
Yes. Reckless.
This is another kind of boring part of the video here, but I wanted to leave it in also because I want you guys to kind of know what I'm doing here. So all I'm doing here is I'm actually just trying to build a little quick relationship with this dog. I'm getting him used to realizing that looking at me gets him a reward. So paying attention to me is what's getting him a reward. So I'm assigning value to myself, and you'll see he starts to kind of pay attention to me a little bit more, and he's really wanting to get into working.
All right, so I'm gonna see how well I can get him to do a recall for me, and I'm gonna go through pretty much the same thing Desi just went through, on leash recall. So, meaning the recall's done on leash, we start close and we move out to hopefully the end of the leash, and then we get the dog coming to us from there as well. With the recall, a lot of people don't give their dog a reason to come to you. So that's step one, is the dog has to have a reason to come to you when you call them to you, or they're not gonna come to you, right? I tell people all the time, it's just like a kid. If a stranger walks up in my yard and says to one of my children, "Hey kid, come here," they're probably not gonna go to them. There's not a relationship there. There's no incentive, right? So if somebody walked up and had a bowl of ice cream or something and was like, "Hey, come here and I'll give you the ice cream," then my kids might go to them. So we've got to give the dog some incentive for coming to us, and we start out close just to make it easy on the dog. I don't care if the dog's in a sit or a down. Ultimately, they're going to have to learn to come to you from any position at all. Reckless really likes to lay down, and I don't want to try to turn this into a video on how to make your dog sit. So if he's in a down, he's in a down. If he's in a sit, he's in a sit. I really don't care, as long as he's meeting the criteria of coming to me and sitting down when he gets to me, okay? I personally teach a dog 99% of the time. I teach a dog to come to me and sit in a front position, meaning sitting in front of me, facing me. The only time I really teach a dog to come to me and sit in a heel position is if I'm training like a sport dog or something like that. Something where they're gonna have a reason for coming and sitting in heel position. Most pet dog people, I like to teach their dogs to come to a front position, because when they're yelling at their dog to come, it's probably because they've dropped the leash and their dog is chasing a squirrel or following another dog or whatever. And I want the dog to come to me and sit facing me, so their back is to whatever distraction it is that I had to call them off of. So now we see he's distracted by the dog across the street. Reckless. So I say his name, he's not gonna look at me. That tells me he's not paying attention to me. So now I can tap him on the head and hopefully he's gonna look at me, and when he does, I'm gonna say come, and I'm gonna start backing up really quick. Reckless, come. Yeah. I get the dog in nice and close, just like that. And I'm gonna let him get a little bit distracted. Reckless, come. And I don't know if you could hear it on the video. That time I gave him a little tug with the leash right after I said come, because I want him to know when I say come, it's not a request, okay? This is one of the things that I will absolutely force a dog to do. The two things I'm gonna force a dog to do is walk on a leash civilly, nicely, however you wanna put it, and come to me when I say come, okay? No questions asked, right? Again, for safety reasons. Reckless, come. So we see no reaction from the dog there. Okay. Reckless, come. Yes. There we go. So I'm starting to teach him, when he hears the word come, he has no option but to turn around and come to me. If he doesn't, I'm going to make him. So now the dog's really close, and he's really amped up, and he's really distracted by Wrigley, his Frisbee partner over there. And you'll see him here in a minute.
Yeah.
But again, if I tell him, Reckless, come, he ignores me, he blows me off, he doesn't listen. Reckless, come. Nope. So now you see he came to me, but he turned around and faced back that way so he could see the other dog, right? And that's why I want the dog to sit facing me, because you see what he did. He came, he sat, turned, and faced that way, so that tells me he's really super interested in the other dog still, and he immediately got up and started walking that way. So that's what I want to prevent. When I'm teaching a dog a recall, that's the object is to be able to recall the dog away from distractions and prevent them from staying engaged with him. I want the dog engaged with me. Reckless, come. Yes, good boy. There we go. Good job. So now I'm going to let him get a little bit distracted again. Reckless, come. Oh, good boy. No correction that time, right? Good job, buddy. So we're going to throw him a quick little part. I'm going to let him wander over here and get a little bit closer. He's really pulling at the end of the leash, and then I'm going to call him back again. Reckless, come. Oh, yes, good boy. So I kind of got on him a little bit that time. Let's see if he learned anything. Free. Now he's like, screw it, I'm just not going to get away from you, right? Which isn't bad either. If the dog's never running away from you, then you never have to worry about calling them back to you. Reckless, come. Nice. Good job, buddy. So I think that's another issue that people have, is correcting their dog and making them do something. I think we have a tendency of kind of feeling bad for the dogs, and oh my gosh, he yelped when I corrected him. And it is kind of a harsh and a crappy way to train dogs, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? Do we make the decision to forego obedience and teach the dog that you don't have to come to me every time I say come? You only have to do it when there's no distractions around? Or do I teach the dog, you have to come to me regardless? When you hear the word come, that means get your butt back to me as fast as possible and park it right in front of me. And that's what I like my dogs to understand. So if you notice, I'm not pulling on the leash and giving the command at the same time either. I'm giving the dog the command, and I'm giving him a split second to make that decision. Do I turn and go towards the guy that just said come, or do I stay facing the dog that's distracting me? I give him a split second to make that decision. If I see he's not making the correct decision and getting up and coming towards me, then I help him with the leash. Hopefully, if my timing is good and my corrections are significant enough, I've only got to do it 2, maybe 3 times before the dog understands, uh-oh, that means get to you. And we'll see if he learned anything yet. Reckless, come. Good boy. Yes. Free. Good job. Now is when I start kind of making a game out of it for the dog. So I will give him the command, and then I start running away from him. And if I get to the end of the leash and I hit the end of the leash, then the dog gets a correction. But what I'm actually trying to do is teach the dog that it's kind of like a game of chase. If you catch me, you get hot dogs. If I outrun you, you get too far away from me to the end of the leash, you get a correction. So I'm not gonna let him anticipate either. So I'm gonna try to creep towards the end of the leash, and he's not. He's like keeping one eye on Wrigley and one eye on me. Come here, good boy. Reckless, come. Oh, come on, yes sir, good boy. Yes, good job. Just like that, right? And when I'm to that point where I can get maybe to the end of the leash before the dog really starts realizing that they have to come to me. When the dog gets faster and better at coming to me, then I can kind of relax the criteria a little bit. There's not going to be as many corrections involved, okay? So the criteria stays the same. I didn't mean relax the criteria, but relax the corrections, I guess. Rick, let's come. Good boy. Yes, sir. Rick. And now I start surprising him. Come. Whoa, good boy. Yes, sir. And now we're gonna try off the leash. I'm gonna turn and walk him towards the dog that's being a distraction, or was being a distraction. And I'm gonna wait for him to kind of lose interest in me. I'm gonna see if I can get kind of far away from him. Reckless, come. Oh, good boy. Yes, sir. Just like that. Free. Good boy. Go on, free. Free. Reckless, come. Oh, good boy. Yes, sir. So I think he's got the concept down anyway. Free. So I'll hand him back over to his owner over here. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you took away some good stuff from the recall video. Hopefully you got some good tips on how to get your dog to come to you reliably under all sorts of circumstances.
And we'd like to thank Reckless here for being a nice guinea pig for us. We're gonna go let him play with Wrigley. If you guys have any questions or comments, drop them down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell.
That's right.
Thanks
All right.
again.
Cool.
That's it.
That's it. Bye.
Bye.